James Warren Jones, or Jim Jones. This name should not be forgotten, particularly amongst Christians. Up until September 11th, 2001, Jim Jones was responsible for the greatest single loss of American civilian life in a non-natural disaster. He's responsible for the death of over 900 people in Jonestown, Guyana, and also the murder of 9 other people, I think including a U.S. congressman. Now, all these people that died, Jim Jones was their so-called pastor. Now, Jim Jones was off the reservation for a long time before this incident happened in 1978. So why was this guy still preaching? Why was this guy even in the pulpit? Here's Tony Alamo. He is being investigated, or actually he's sitting in jail right now. He's a pastor of what would be considered a cult out in Arkansas. He was busted. His compound was raided as part of a child pornography investigation. Again, this guy was preaching for years and running his compound for years where these activities were going on. Why was he in the pulpit? Why was he still preaching? How about this Pastor Tony Morris in Seattle, Washington? Built dozens of people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans that he's failed to repay. People have gotten judgments against him in hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he continues to live in luxury. He's living in a mansion, driving SUVs, him and his wife, and he's failed to repay these people. Yet he still has a church, even though he lost his church building. Now he's moved the church to a school building, still preaching in the pulpit. Why? This one for you right here. This one is a doozy. Take a look at this video.
Power, perversion, and the pulpit.
Tonight, a prominent Denver minister admits engaging in sexual conduct inside his own church. CBS 4 investigator Brian Moss has been looking into the pastor's actions. And Brian, I know that you were struck by how little the church did after it found out.
Well, this has gone on for a long time. The pastor is still preaching at the church. But the woman who claims he molested her says she had no choice but to quit her job. She asked us to conceal her identity.
Pastor Willie Simmons, presiding over Denver's Central Baptist Church, is more than happy to tell you what he's all about.
I've given that much of myself to just wanting to make a difference in the lives of people in a positive way.
You're a man of God.
I am.
Or maybe not.
There's a woman who worked here at one point who says you had sex with her here in the church?
Brian, I will not discuss that. I will not discuss that one.
The 58-year-old pastor, married, father of 2, clearly did not want to talk about what we learned about him.
This woman says you had sex with her in this church and that you forced her to have sex here.
He might do it again.
This woman, a deeply religious 43-year-old single mother, went to work as Pastor Simmons' assistant 5 years ago. Immediately, she says, a church elder warned her about Simmons.
He was more like a womanizer, you know, and some of the things that he had did in the church before to another woman.
She says Simmons constantly made sexually perverse remarks.
He said he wanted to do a threesome with you?
He didn't bite his tongue. I mean, he would come out as far as where he would want to put his mouth on me and stuff like that. He would say stuff like that, or I should have a threesome with him and his girlfriend. And
she fended off the dirty talk, but one day last year it escalated.
You know, pastor comes into the office and he locks the door. He wanted me to take care of him. He done unzipped his pants. He's standing up over me, and he's pushing himself on my face, trying to put it in my mouth.
Could you believe this happened in a church?
No, I didn't think he would, you know, even want to go that far in a church.
A church where Simmons surrounds himself with community awards and reminders of his powerful position. She immediately reported the behavior to church elders. She says they did little, but Simmons apologized, begging her not to quit. But 2 weeks later in the church office, it happened again, only worse.
He pushes himself upside my face. That's when it went too far, where he ejaculates all over me and my hair.
This time she went to police, believing she was a victim of sexual assault. Detectives had her phone Simmons, and they listened in. They heard Simmons tell the woman, "When I came to your house and called your phone, all I had to say was, 'Please forgive me, I'm sorry.'" Knowing she went to police, Simmons said, "You don't have to do this. I'll never say anything to you. I did get out of line. You could keep your job." And in this internal church letter obtained by CBS 4, Simmons admitted there had been a sexual encounter, but prosecutors did not file criminal charges, saying the pastor claimed the sex was consensual, and they could not disprove that.
It was never consensual. I never gave in to him. I wanted it to stop. It wasn't consensual, Reverend Simmons, and I wish I could tell him to his face, I didn't consent to anything.
Could you ever imagine a man of God acting this way?
Behind closed doors, he's not acting godly.
In a follow-up phone call, Pastor Simmons told me he just wants to put this behind him and, quote, "keep trying to do the good that I've done." He referred questions to his lawyer, who did not return our phone calls. The church treasurer also declined to answer questions about Pastor Simmons. The woman has now filed a lawsuit against Pastor Simmons. She said she did that because she wants to tell her story.
Yeah, really disturbing story. Okay, thank you, Brian.
Amazing, isn't it? Here's a youth pastor in Canada who was convicted of child abuse in Mexico. He's wanted for pornography charges elsewhere in Canada, but he's still being paid by his church. Bishop Frederick Kelly, who was convicted this year of child molestation and was sentenced to 35 years in prison. This picture is a picture of the sign in front of the church. I took this picture in August, on August 20th. He was sentenced, I think, in March or May. This sign was in front of the church in August, indicating that he's still the pastor. It is now November 2008. That sign, that very sign that you're looking at, is still in front of the church, indicating that he's a pastor. Why? Here's Todd Bentley. Now, he got caught up in a sex scandal not too long ago, and he was forced to step down. But long before that, he was preaching false doctrine, knocking people down, claiming they were being healed, doing all kinds of crazy stuff and getting away with it. But he gets caught up in a sex scandal. Now we decide we want to sit him down. Why was he allowed to preach all that time that false, foolish doctrine and get away with these crazy practices in the church? Why? Here's my former pastor, Bishop T.A. Body, pastor of the Church of One Accord, Decatur, Georgia. Left this church 4 years ago because I discovered how corrupt this man was. And over the years since I've been gone, I have uncovered all kinds of things that this man has done, has not repented for. Members of the church, leadership knows what he's done, but they fail to do anything to correct or discipline this man or rein him in. This man is currently harassing a young woman who has come forward regarding his apparent sexual abuse of her when she was a teenager. He has done everything possible to try to shut this woman up. He's been calling her. He still continues to call and harass her. He has lied on me and tried to blame me for getting him as well as getting her, as well as another woman, to make false claims against him about this molestation. And I want to state unequivocally that that is false. T.A. Body, you are a liar. In fact, you and I both know that a representative of the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office told you personally that the only reason you weren't being prosecuted was because of the statute of limitations. The members of the One Accord Church, as well as his family members, know this man's history and knows what he has done, yet they continue to cover for him. They turn family members against people who speak against him. This guy has no business in the pulpit. But you know why he's there? And you know why all these other preachers I mentioned, why they're there? Because of people like you, some of you out there, who continue to support these churches, who continue to defend these men no matter what they do. It's time out for putting up with this foolishness in the church and protecting these perverts and these crooks. These people need to be exposed. People who have been victimized by these people, you need to have the courage to stand up and speak out. Some of these people need to be in jail. Some of them need to be sued. Some of them need to lose their churches. We need to clean our own house instead of worry about Obama and Proposition 8 and all this other stuff. We need to be worrying about cleaning the house of God up and getting rid of these devils. God bless you.